Hello everyone, it is going on 8 p.m. October 8th, 2014, and this video is going to be about fear versus danger. I want to take a moment to address a very interesting ripple effect that has had a profound effect on the world today. And I just want to take a moment to enlighten people so that they can understand why they make a lot of the mistakes that they make on a regular basis. This is something that I find interesting, that nobody really knows this, or they've never really, taken the time to, kind of get to know themselves a little bit better, to evaluate themselves. And I know that there's a lot of delusional people out there that are arrogant and just plain dumb. I used to be one. Of course, I'm not anymore, and I'm hella blessed to not be one of those people that are blind as a bat. But there is a huge difference between fear and danger. Sometimes people feel fear before they experience danger. Sometimes people don't. The two are completely separate. Fear is not always a precursor to danger. But as a human, you may have noticed that you felt danger. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. As a human, you may have noticed that you felt fear when there was no danger. You may have had a strong reason to believe that danger is impending. You may have had tons and tons of evidence to support that you will be in danger. But when you're feeling fear, or when you're afraid, when you're concerned with what might happen, you're not yet in fear. And so as a human, you have to exercise a choice. And I think that a lot of people these days don't know that they need to exercise this choice. I think a lot of people don't even know that this choice exists. But it does. You may not be aware of the choice, and so you've never known that you're confronted with it, but you were, even if it's on a subconscious level. Fear is a choice. Danger is an obligation. The two are completely different, and there's no correlation between the two. For example, earlier today, I parked my car over on the side of the road in the middle of a neighborhood, and some guy came out of his house and he decided to knock on my window to get my attention, and I rolled down my window to ask him what he wanted, even though I had a 90% probability that I knew exactly what he was going to say, because a lot of people are acting on their fear. And it's a little disturbing because a lot of today's issues spring from fear when there's no danger, when there's no assurance of danger. Assurance is to be sure. Assurance is a long version of sure. So when you act on fear when there's no reason to, and when there's no danger yet, you're actually creating ripple effects that's going to come back and bite us all in the ass, which is why you need to exercise self-control. But what this guy asked me is, he asked me what am I doing parked out in front of his house. Well, my car was not on his property. There's a sidewalk in between the street, which is owned by the city, and his property. So his property is on one side, there's a sidewalk, which is anybody's game, and then my car is parked on the street, which is also anybody's game. But that territory, that property, is owned by the city. It's not owned by the guy who owns the house that I was not trespassing on. So I find it interesting. I mean, this isn't the first time that I've been parked on the side of the road. Sometimes I pull over because I need to look at my phone, and it's dangerous to text while driving. You're not supposed to do that. It's actually illegal in Colorado. You're not supposed to do that. And people have died. Lots of people have died because they check their phones when they're driving, And that's all it takes is a split second for a tragedy to happen because you're not paying attention, and so you couldn't stop in time. But instead of pulling over on a major street, where cars are going 40, 45 miles an hour, I always go into a neighborhood, and I just go a couple blocks into it, and then I pull over so that I can get onto my phone. But aside from that, what if I'm just a totally random person that just needs to take a break from the road? I mean, why do I even need to have a reason for pulling over on the side of the road in the first place? And yet this isn't the first time this has happened. And so it happened again today, and then it dawned on me. I was like, you know what? This is interesting. I should make a video about this. I should analyze this human behavior, and I should dissect it, and I should try to make sense of it. Of course, there's no quantifiable explanation for why people do what they do when they're choosing to not exercise self-control. When you exercise self-control, it starts in the mind. It doesn't start in the body. So all that walking that guy did, all the words that guy said, that was all his body. Self-control starts in the mind. Then it follows through because the mind controls everything. And so this is obvious. I mean, anybody who's human can see that based on just evaluating themselves. And so when you act on fear, when there's no danger, your actions are going to affect other people anyway. In this case, this individual draws my attention from what I was trying to do so that I can get back on the road, which took time of my life that I'm never going to get back. Some people might say, well, that's petty. It's like, what, a couple seconds to talk to somebody? Well, think about it. A couple seconds of my life that I'm never going to get back. Ever. Ever. Regardless of how many seconds it is, that time was taken from me to address an issue that never existed. Do you understand what that means? I mean, are you able... I mean, for me, this is common sense. When I was 12, I can see how people are acting on their fear. And I can see when people are choosing to control themselves. See, maturity doesn't happen if you're acting on your fear. Boys do that. Men do not do that. Men are not moved by the waves of the sea that easily. Men, mature men, it takes a lot to move us. There has to be real danger because we're not gonna waste our time and concern ourselves with things that haven't happened yet. That's the difference between a boy and a man. That's the difference between a girl and a woman. Is that a woman is smart, she's majestic, she's mature, her feet are planted on the floor. And that is what makes them hold fast. That is what makes men hold fast. That is what makes us who we are. We are not moved by fear. We will not be moved by fear. You can threaten us, but we will still do what we intended to do regardless. And so, it's fascinating because it's common sense. It's like, how can a human make that mistake? It's like, if you're aware of what makes you human, then that allows you to watch out for these mistakes. It's just like assumptions. If you're aware of what assumptions are, then you can avoid doing them because then you become aware of it. That awareness becomes a part of you. The part of you that is your mind controls everything. It controls your body. It controls your choices, your actions, the way you organize your thoughts. When you become aware of it. And so it's fascinating to me how I can be 27 years old. I knew this when I was 12, but completely regardless, I'm meeting people that are twice my age and they still don't know this, and I don't understand why. I really don't. But I'm approaching the 10-minute mark. And I believe that I've said enough already. I don't need to say any more. Everything, all of this stuff is common sense. I don't know why people don't know it, but whatever I didn't cover in this video, you can figure it out on your own because it's all common sense. Fear, any type of emotion should not be dictating your choices. If you're being controlled by your emotions, then you're not mature yet. That is the latter. You need to be in control of your fear so that you can tell your fear to shut the fuck up, because danger hasn't happened yet, and I'm not going to be moved by you. MassageBF.com, over and out.